Hello, welcome to another Wellness Wednesday Q&A here on the Paso Norte Health Foundation Facebook page. Today, we're joined here with the Paso Norte Health Foundation Program Officer, Bianca de Leon, and Annette Torres, who is the Program Manager for Smoke Free Paso Norte. Smoke Free Paso Norte is a partnership between the Health Foundation and the YMCA. We'll be talking and answering questions about how to stay smoke-free during COVID-19, and the effects of smoking on your respiratory system. As we know, COVID-19 can have a major and sometimes fatal effects on the respiratory system, and those may be complicated by smoking. We encourage you to submit your questions early in the comments here on Facebook Live. We'll answer as many as possible during this 15-minute live session. We also like to encourage you to visit epcovid19.org. It's your COVID-19 information hub for the Paso del Norte region. It was created by Paso del Norte Health Foundation to help the community find valuable resources to help get through the current health crisis. There's links and other resources for parents, students, businesses, mental health needs, and a lot more, including how to stay smoke-free tips and other health reminders. So again, I want to welcome Annette and Bianca. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Before we get started talking about some of the helpful tips and stuff like that, Bianca, I want to ask you ask you about the partnership that helped to create Smoke-Free Paso Norte.
So the Smoke Free initiative is actually the Health Foundation's oldest initiative that we currently have, and has done a lot of great work in El Paso County. We were the first city years ago in the state of Texas that had a smoke-free ordinance. And we're able to do this because of the support of a lot of our community partners. In more recent years, the YMCA has stepped into the role of the backbone organization, and they support a lot of the work of the smoke-free initiative. Particularly leading and managing the Tobacco Control Network, which is, a large group of community folks who are looking at tobacco prevention efforts. And so they gather monthly. And right now we're spending a lot of time working on vaping prevention and supporting our young people in the region in vaping prevention.
Awesome. And so we were talking a little bit about epcovid19.org, the information hub. Are there any resources there that you're aware of right now that are available?
Yeah, I know that there is the resource from Catch Global Foundation, and I think it's called Health at Home. And so there's some resources related to vaping prevention there. People can also visit smokefreepdn.org and find information there related to tobacco prevention particularly, but we can always upload more resources, especially if there are any of those that we talk about today, onto the website.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that information. Again, we're here with Bianca de Leon. She's the program officer for Paso Norte Health Foundation, and also Annette Torres is joining us. She's the program manager for Smoke Free Paso Norte. She works with the YMCA. Annette, tell us a little bit, what does COVID do to the lungs, and how is that affected by smoking or vaping?
Well, what we do know is that when COVID-19 was first being discovered, it was heavily affecting the lungs. And what scientists and researchers were looking at were, in particular, things called cilia, which are the little hair-like structures in your lungs that help clear fluid and debris and all kinds of lovely things out of your lungs. And what they were finding was the intersection of COVID-19 and smokers was having a serious effect on the individual. So basically, those who were smoking for long periods of time were having a more difficult time with COVID-19 than non-smokers. It was affecting them more seriously, and they were actually catching COVID or the coronavirus much more frequently. And so the combination of those two things was leading to researchers putting out warnings and suggestions to smokers to quit smoking.
So basically, you're saying that smoking can make you put you at a higher risk for some of the
Yes.
effects of
So it's not
coronavirus.
just being more susceptible, but it's
Hmm.
also being more vulnerable to the effects. So
Right.
really, when you look at it, it's a two-pronged effect.
Okay. And so, as Bianca mentioned, there are some resources available out there, especially those through Smoke Free Paso Norte. What kind of resources are there available?
So we're very lucky. The state of Texas is still is still supporting their QuitLine. And so those who are interested in quitting can call 915-534-7848, and they can talk to someone about quitting. Their resources that are available through the Texas QuitLine include nicotine replacement therapy, which is 2 weeks of nicotine replacement so that you can help wean off. But on top of that, they also offer the opportunity to get phone calls, to get text messages at times when you feel that you know you're going to want to grab that cigarette, you're going to want to grab the vape, you're going to want something. And so they can hit you with a phone call or a text messages that remind you of why you wanted to quit to begin with.
Okay. And can you share with us the number for the quit line one more time so we can share it in the comments here in the Facebook Live?
Sure, 915-534-7848, or you can always log on to smokefreepdn.org. We have information there that can help you quit, as well as a link directly to the Yes Quit website.
Okay. And Annette or Bianca, either of you, do you have any helpful tips that you could share right now to help people that want to, or maybe are thinking about quitting?
I think one of the things that people who smoke or people who care about those who smoke in their home, as we're all sheltering in place, I think one of the most important things that those in tobacco prevention are talking about right now is adopting smoke-free home policies or smoke-free at-home policies. And those are things that encourage those who are smoking to smoke outside, away from other individuals inside their home, protecting them from second and third hand smoke effects. So really trying to say, let's make this a safe place for everyone, a safe place for those who are looking to quit, to be able to say, I can go in here and make myself realize that the things that I do affect others. And so I want to make this a safe place for all of us, including yourself. When you know you want to pick up that cigarette, if you're in the house, you may not do it.
Right. And I know a lot of people sometimes when they're smoking cigarettes, they're thinking, well, maybe I'll just switch to vaping and maybe that'll help. What is there any evidence that supports that, or is it exactly the same, just vaping, just a different form?
So there is evidence that certain types of devices will help smokers quit. Mods that do allow adults to turn down the amount of nicotine that they take in can have, in general, the same effect as nicotine replacement therapy. It helps wean you off the nicotine that you're addicted to. That said, there are a lot of devices out there that don't allow for that and that actually have a greater amount of nicotine than the cigarettes you're taking in. Disposables, one-piece devices, the pod systems are like those. So when you're looking at a Puff Bar or a Juul or a Blue, those devices don't work to actually wean people off of smoking. And if we're talking about COVID-19 and smoking, though we don't have a lot of research into vaping, we do not expect that it has as much difference in affecting lungs. So you have to consider vaping and smoking and lungs and the overall effect.
Yeah, I would add that it's important to remember, it's never a good idea for young people to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Brains are still developing, their bodies are still developing. Nicotine particularly is incredibly addictive. And so I think a lot of times people hear that there are some electronic vaping devices that are are supporting adults who smoke, but they don't hear the adult piece. And that's really important to remember, is that any evidence that exists for that is only for motivated adults who are ready to quit.
Right.
What I would offer to parents and to youth is that if there is some interest and they're feeling like they're ready to quit electronic cigarettes, the Truth Initiative has some resources available that can help support. And we can put this information on EP COVID-19 website, but there are the same resources like a QuitLine and text messages that can help young people in particular, really think about quitting, and help parents, particularly if they're noticing that their son or daughter is vaping a lot, how the parents can help support them too.
Mm-hmm. And we also know that vaping is really popular among the youth right now, unfortunately, and that it's not really great for young people who are still developing, right? But do you think that being that there's this current stay-at-home order here in El Paso still, do you think that kids are still being able to access vaping devices and Juul pods and things like that?
Yeah, so we've heard a couple of stories, and we knew this before COVID-19 reached our community, but a lot of young people are accessing these devices through mail orders. And so, I would say particularly for parents, if they're home now, be mindful of what's coming through your mail. If you're trying to, I would hope that they're trying to support their son or daughter in quitting. But there's a lot of mail orders that are happening. But there's also a lot of just, kids are still going out, but also their friends or whoever is selling these vaping devices to them are just dropping by their homes. The kids running outside real quick and, exchanging money. And then they've got that's access. They've got their devices, they've got their pods refilled. So we don't think stay-at-home orders are reducing vaping or access to these products by any means. We are hearing that if it's not kind of stayed the same, it may have actually increased a little bit.
Okay. And another thing, we got a question on Facebook that's kind of related to the next question that I was going to ask, which is, maybe a lot of people are thinking right now that it's maybe too much of a stressful time to think about quitting smoking. So what are some maybe mental health or physical well-being tips that you can give to people who are trying to quit during this time? And have you heard of or noticed any increasing in smoking right now during the crisis?
I don't think we've seen a difference really in the number of individuals right now. There may be a change in frequency that we haven't seen, but when we're talking about the science of nicotine and stress, we know that it actually worsens the stress levels of individuals because you're always looking for your next opportunity for your smoke break. You're always waiting for that chance to go out and smoke again. And so when you actually step away from smoking, then you're actually helping your brain reduce the stress level on it. And so for mental health, when you're looking to grab that cigarette, then you can do other things that are more beneficial. You can go for a walk. You can, do things in your home that distract you from wanting that cigarette and actually make you feel better.
And again, if anyone is looking for resources, you can visit both epcovid19.org or smokefreepdn.org, and there's information there available to you in English and in Spanish. You can also call the toll-free quit line, which is 1-877-YES-QUIT or 937-7848, or visit yesquit.org. All that information is available here in the comments on Facebook with links and the phone number included here in the comments to our Facebook Live Q&A. We're coming close to our 15-minute time limit here. But let me ask you one other question. How can someone create a smoke-free environment in their home that not only supports maybe someone who's quitting, but also sets a good example for their children to live a smoke-free lifestyle.
So they can do that in multiple ways. One of them is joining our tobacco control network. We would love to have people come in and talk to us. We do have a work group that we are looking at that is establishing smoke-free policies. So they have an opportunity to ask questions. They have an opportunity to learn a little bit about what policies they can put in place in their own home. And then if they live in apartments, to help encourage their neighbors to adopt smoke-free policies as well. So they can call us or they can reach out through smokefreepdn.org and leave a comment and get in touch with us.
Okay. Before we wrap up, Bianca, as you mentioned, Smoke Free Paso Norte is the oldest initiative that the Health Foundation is partnered with. Why is that? Why is it such an important initiative to the Health Foundation and to the El Paso community in general?
That's a good question. I mean, smoking and the long-term effects of smoking can have some pretty significant negative impacts on health. And so we've really, early on in the Health Foundation's kind of looked at, what are ways that we can support people to live healthier lives, and smoking came up, and it's, as these tobacco companies get bigger and more creative, they certainly present some other opportunities for us to tackle, and vaping has become one of them. And so we know that there are a lot of young people that are vaping, and as we've mentioned, nicotine is incredibly addictive. And so it still remains a very relevant health issue and health concern in our region. And we are, looking at ways to really promote health and help our community members understand and identify ways that they can quit, or what we would hope to is never actually start smoking. And so it still continues to be, 20 years later, a very relevant topic in our community. And we are here to just support our community members in really making smarter decisions when it comes to their health, especially related to tobacco use.
That's awesome. And we thank the Paso Norte Health Foundation and Smoke Free PDN for doing that for our community and for helping us try and navigate this current health crisis. As always, I want to thank both of you for being here today on Facebook Live. We always want to encourage everyone to visit epcovid19.org, which is the COVID-19 information hub for the Paso Norte region. It has a lot of information there available to you in both English and Spanish. There's also juarezcovid19.org for the Juarez region. Go ahead and go check that out, log on. We'll be here every week on Facebook for Wellness Wednesdays for the foreseeable future as we continue to try to help the community navigate the health crisis, the current health crisis. We're also on our sister organization, the Paso Norte Community Foundation's Facebook Live every Tuesday at noon. So join us every week, Tuesday and Wednesday on each page to help get some valuable information for yourself, your family, and other loved ones. Again, thank you, Annette and Bianca, for joining us today. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to keep asking questions in the comments here on Facebook Live, and we'll answer them at our soonest opportunity. Again, you can log on to Smoke Free PDN website at smokefreepdn.org and call the QuitLine at 1-877-YES-QUIT if you need any other information to help you smoke quitting. So that'll do it for this Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Bianca and Annette.